good at what she does. Her job is to ask fucked up questions. But here's the thing that's pissing me off. Nobody's pissed off at Harvey Levitt. They all still watching TMZ. But we're shooting every, like, here's the thing. Okay, let's just cut it down.
Are we recording?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are we
Whether you agree with her or not, I don't really care. It doesn't make a difference. He's dead. It happened. The facts are the facts. So
Wait,
if you're
what facts are what facts?
the facts that he was accused of rape.
He was accused. So
All
that's
right.
the whole
Hold
difference
up
between
one
what you're
second.
talking
No,
about.
no, no, no.
Wait.
Like I said.
Hey, both of y'all wait. Let me do the intro for the show.
What?
Wait 1 second.
God dog it.
I thought that was the intro.
Coming at you live all the way from the lower bottoms of West Oakland.
LBs.
Sound waves. Today we have two special guests, very special to me for various reasons.
I think we're special to Alex too.
I've known both of these gentlemen for I've been out of school for 25 years. So at least 20 plus years I've known these gentlemen. I'm not. Should I say your whole name?
Whatever works for you, but your show.
Whatever alias.
You want the
he's
CIA
using
after
this
me?
week.
Because I might say a thing or two.
I mean, real talk. Yeah. You might.
Can I call you a social activist, community activist?
Sure.
You definitely have your foot in that world.
I try to do some work.
Part of that work is making cheesecakes.
The movement got to be fed.
It's not a movement.
Jabir.
Yes, sir. Hello, internet listeners.
Also, I have another friend of ours that we this group. This is 60 with 20 years of knowing each other, 20 plus years. Funny man, you may know him from opening up for Erykah Badu.
Yeah, I've done that.
Opening up for Dave Chapelle.
Yeah, that guy.
Opening up for Mos Def and Talib.
Yes, Yasin Bey.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Yasin
call him
Bey.
in the streets.
I'm sorry.
But we just call him Dante. So what's up, D? What's up, D?
I got funny man Chris Riggins.
Michael Buffer voice. Yeah.
I had to give it to you.
It's about time somebody introduced me correctly.
I've been talking about having you guys on this show, even on air. I've been mentioning having you guys on this show for several reasons. I just wanted more black people in the room.
I'm for that. I feel that quota.
I just wanted more
That
black
can
people.
always be good.
I just want to make Alex uncomfortable.
I think Alex is far
comfortable as fuck.
more comfortable around us than he is his own people.
No, you guys are cool. I'm chill.
Alex is comfortable as fuck.
Wait till
right
you hear
now.
how many N-bombs Chris drops.
There might be a few.
Oh, there's going to be a lot. Count them up.
Every time I count,
If you can count how many times I say nigga on this show,
don't. You have to have
you get a free T-shirt of the Bitter End. You get a free Bitter End T-shirt.
Bitter Lake, Chris.
Bitter Lake, Bitter End.
How you gonna call us the wrong band name, Chris?
You gave him
I
a
don't know,
fantastic
'cause I don't
intro.
listen to
The
you.
merch is all over the studio.
God
what?
damn.
You know what? That's why you can edit shit. All right.
We don't edit this.
We're
doing it live.
Well, you can edit now.
We're doing it like what's the dude's name that got fired from Fox for grabbing titties?
What?
Roger
What's his
Stone?
name? You said Roger.
Roger,
Stone.
Roger Ailes.
Not Roger Ailes.
People
the
get
other one that
fired
had the
from
show.
Fox.
O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly.
I thought he got fired for some other shit.
All of it combined.
It was.
Oh, it was just the titties was the last.
I don't think he grabbed
straw.
titties. I think he said you got big titties. He did something that was disrespectful to a woman.
Something to do with titties.
Something to do with he
figured-
fucking crossed the line. And
I figure
Fox
the
was like,
whole
hey.
Fox environment is disrespectful to women. Like, I feel like any woman working there is probably like, fuck bitches too. Like,
She just likes being subjugated.
she just like, well, I mean, in a way, that's a power too, because it's like, you could just be like, you let them say all that shit and just be recording it. Keep saying it, okay. and then one day you be like, hey, I need a promotion. Oh, you're not promoting me? Okay. Hey, CNN, you want to hear this? Yeah, that's Bill O'Reilly telling me he like my fat pussy from the back. So, bred me out.
I am so
I am out
uncomfortable.
of. I'm gonna go to social media and I'm gonna,
Just record. I recorded it all.
I'm gonna make a podcast now.
Because that was the year that I want to say Charlie Rose went down.
Yeah.
Matt Lauer went
Got
down.
a lot of white men in that one.
Tavis Smiley.
Yeah,
But
that one I didn't.
He didn't officially go all the way down.
I think
PBS
he
fired him.
Oh, I thought he resigned to avoid it.
No, PBS.
He
fired
fought
him.
it. I know he fought it.
He's suing him right now.
But yeah, because
Just
he was
this
like,
week.
I didn't do this.
Yeah, I think that was the one I felt was kind of like, I've met that man and I've talked to him, and I'm gonna be real. Nothing like about that brother ever, even in his news, never said I'm doing. He always seemed very respectful. And like there's other people, Bill O'Reilly, yeah, I believe it.
I believe anything about him. Never.
Charlie Rose, yeah, I believe it. Matt Lauer,
Yeah.
of course I believe it.
But you know what's funny though? People got real quiet about Tavis Smiley too.
Yeah,
He's
it
like the
looked fishy.
opposite of Cosby, because Cosby was like, well, hey,
Yeah.
hey.
I just wish someone would take his phone in jail. Bro, just do your time, get out, get your money, move to a little island.
So you
shut
are
the fuck
against
up.
inmates having cell phones in prison now?
I'm
I
always
want to know
been
your
against inmates.
stances on everything.
I'm always against inmates having cell phones.
He's
in
against
prison
inmate
because
selfies.
It leads to a lot of violence in the prison.
And it also leads to fantastic Facebook and Instagram lives where you watch
You are
17 to 20 dudes
That's
with no
where-
shirts on.
Nigga, that's where life is complicated. It's like I want to be woke, but then I want to be ignorant sometimes. I want to be like, yo, I want to be like, sister, I really appreciate your beauty, but I also want to be like, hey, your ass is fat. Like that.
You have to think it.
So this is the complication of being friends with
Exactly.
Hey.
And that's why I keep him around. He is actually my barometer
Moral
for
center.
morality.
Your moral
I don't
center.
agree with a lot of his opinions,
Because
but
he's
I do,
wrong most of the time.
I do agree with his stability. You know what I mean?
Let me
Like,
ask both of you
he's a
guys.
pillar.
So I always do a thing every week that I usually do by myself. And since we're somewhat on similar pages politically, I call it Why You Should Care. And this week I wanted to do about corporate socialism.
Wow.
Government subsidies that these companies get. In 68, King said, this country has socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor.
Ooh. Martin was spitting.
Yeah. Bars.
Bars.
So we saw
So he could have a little side, for them bars.
we saw huge tax cuts. Was it 2 years ago that Trump had the big Trump tax cuts that was supposed to lift all boats, right? That the rich guys were going to get more money and they were going to have more jobs and everybody else was going to get more everything, and it hasn't happened. Wealth inequality numbers are rising, especially here in the Bay Area. You actually just had to walk through a tent city to get into the doors to this place, right?
Yes, and some of those people have jobs over there.
Oh, a lot of them.
Also, there's more tax cuts that Trump is planning on doing, and also more military spending. He's going to be pulling a lot of that money from SNAP benefits. So about 700,000 people already are being denied of SNAP benefits, which food stamps, right?
Oh, shit. That's why they ain't got back to me. Now
It
I'm
was a
voting.
serious moment. And a
Now
damn
I have to
comedian.
vote. Get me my registration form. I'm headed to the ballot.
So when we talk about, socialism is a big theme in this year's political race, because you have Bernie Sanders, who's the Democratic Socialist. His reforms are less socialist and more New Deal era FDR, but that's splitting hairs for the average person in the public. But when we talk about socialism for the rich, as King quoted, we can go back to the 2008 bailout of banks, where they got bailed out, didn't have to pay taxes on the profits they made when they got back,
And didn't have to keep the promises for what they
Didn't
were
have
given
to-
the bailouts for.
course.
Yeah.
This is money for you to
This
extend
is-
lending for people to save their houses.
How is this different than everything's always been? Like, it's always been too big to fail.
Yeah.
So in 2008, I believe J.P. Morgan Chase got fined $13 billion for their complicity in the housing scandal.
13 billion.
They were able to write off 11 billion of
That's
that.
a parking ticket.
They reported record profits last year of $36.4 billion.
13 billion. That's like when my daughter comes in my room at 8 a.m. and says, "I need $20 for a field trip." That's what that is to them. It's nothing. Go
So
in my
how
drawer.
do you guys feel about that concept of corporate socialism?
I mean, I think the King quote says everything. And the fact that was 50 plus years ago, 60 years ago, 60 years ago.
Well, if you don't change stuff, it just repeats. So.
It repeats again and again. The fact that when it comes to what Americans need, what the average working person needs, there's a rule that says, well, you got to pull yourself by your bootstraps. If you're too lazy, what you guys have talked about in previous shows. You should have got a better degree. You should have worked harder. But when it comes to these people who don't even earn their wealth, there's just unlimited welfare for these corporations, and sweetheart deals. And Oakland, if you guys remember, even Oakland was downtown Oakland. Promised was bidding how much they can give away to places, to Uber and Square and these other companies. Oakland is open for business, is what the mayor was saying at the time. So it's just really unfortunate that we as individuals have not gotten to the point where we say we're going to pay attention to this for a certain amount of time, because I believe if we put enough effort, if we put enough energy and attention into it for a short period of time, for 2 years, that we can change the narrative on even this.
I recently just finished a book called Winners Take All by Anand Giridharadas, kind of about how plutocrats are co-opting our democracy in the name of philanthropy. Do you guys think, because you're out in these Oakland streets, Jabir, Chris, I know you're out doing stuff and you tour. Alex and I tour.
I be in Trump's America.
Right?
Be in
Once
Trump's
you leave
America.
the Bay, you in Trump's America.
Ooh, Lord.
Do you feel that we've forgotten the concept of democracy as a whole?
If it ever existed. Democracy existed once. Okay, I will say back when all the white men made all the decisions. Yes, it existed. When they set it up for themselves, it totally existed. You bitches make our food and wait for us to come home. You niggers pick our
Another one. God darn it.
You,
I was waiting.
You chinks, you over there, you build our railroads. You wops, you serve us food. You fucking mix, you
Oh,
fucking
he's going
toy.
he's going forward.
Yeah, that's what it was. And when only white men made, there was a democracy. It was all American democracy. Every vote counted. You vote, sir, it counts. First serve, you vote, it counts.
See, I wish they put this in Hamilton.
Then they should. Let me rewrite Hamilton called Hameezy. It'd be Hameezy. It'd be a whole other. This nigga Hamilton in the place to be.
I would like, if they had covered it the way you just said it, I would have supported Hamilton.
I mean,
They skipped a whole lot.
we
They
should holler at
sanitized it.
David. He
Anyway,
was
carry
around
on.
here.
I interrupted.
Wow.
There was a democracy at the time, but then as soon as everybody was like, wait a minute, we're not being treated right. How come you get to make all the decisions? And they said, okay, well, look, you look enough like us, so you can make you can think you're making the decision.
You Irish people can
we'll
come
let you
join.
vote, but if your vote gets counted, that depends on how violent your people are against the other people that are voting against you. So, why don't we form these teams? Yeah. We're going to form these teams, okay? We're going to be the elephants, and you guys going to be the donkeys. Yeah, we're the elephants and the donkeys. And we out here, yeah. Go elephants, donkeys on mine, fool.
There's a musical here waiting to happen.
Yeah. And
I swear,
and
give
at
him
the end of
6
the
months, he
game,
can write this.
They all go back to the same bar and say, man, great game, guy.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's like, this is gold.
Oh, you donkeys, your time. We're going to get you tomorrow,
Broadway
donkeys.
gold.
You better write this for somebody else.
We're recording this, so send it to me. Like, you know what I mean? And the donkeys, and they kick it after the game. Meanwhile, the people that got to clean up the field and got to clean up the stands and got to make sure the field looks good for them to play on are out there still toiling, and they're not getting any beer. They're not getting any high fives. Matter of fact, they're getting the worst of it. They don't even get to watch the game.
What did Malcolm say before he passed? It's either the ballot box or the bullet.
The bullet
Yeah.
of the ballot. Yeah.
And right now, I'm closer to the bullet, guys. I'm like getting to the point where I feel like, you know what, and I don't, you know what, CIA may come for us. I just respected this country more, and we just assassinated people. I don't know what happened to the good days.
Oh, okay, pause. Time out.
What
Time out.
happened? I'm just
That
saying.
was Chris Riggins.
I mean, the only people that got assassinated was like King,
JFK. I mean, but at least.
JFK.
union leaders.
And,
Union, thank you,
I mean, come
union
on.
leaders.
I mean-
I'm talking before Hoffa. I'm talking Eugene Debs getting thrown in jail.
I'm sure there's
yeah.
a mobster that Donald Trump owes money to.
There
pretty
was.
sure.
That was part of
There's
his when he was
gotta
getting
be
elected. There was a Russian
Genovese
mobster.
or
It was
whatever
Russian mob.
they-
The BW
Are you
totally
inviting
serious.
somebody to do something? Just
No, I'm not inviting any mafia members of any mafia, Yakuza, Russian mafia, Irish mob. I'm not encouraging any of you guys, BGF, Crips, Bloods, Vice Lords, Gangster Disciples, I'm not encouraging any of you guys to go to 1600 Principal Pennsylvania and just start shooting. I'm not encouraging that.
I think they have to go to Mar-a-Lago.
Well, I'm just saying.
Apparently, he's like never there.
You know, I was just at the White House, and the grass is terrible. It's like some weird, ironic scene from a movie where it's just like
the grass
terrible
goes to shit
president,
when the shitty
and
guys
the grass is just terribly brown. And I know it was winter, but there was grass everywhere else that was green.
There's some symbolism there.
That was real.
I could see that.
Like, I took a picture of the White House, and people said, "Is that the White House with that grass?" I was like, "Yes." And they panned some dude with an Uzi to guard it. That just seems like you failed in your law enforcement dreams. Like, when I found out there's different levels of Secret Service,
Yeah.
like, there's a dude that roll with the president. Then there's a dude that just stands at the fucking door at some congressional library
Yeah.
checking
Yeah,
IDs.
fair,
You
yeah.
know what? You suck as a cop.
Did you know that Congress actually got shot up in the 20s?
No, you don't mean the 2020s, obviously.
1920s. 1920s or 30s. I forget when it was.
I don't know the context, but I understand
Puerto
why.
Rican liberation. You know, the original reason we told Puerto Rico they were going to get them in the Philippines. We were like, you guys are going to get your freedom if we defeat the Spanish.
Huh.
We never gave it to Puerto Rico. And there were people that had fought. I mean, they're still fighting
Yeah.
for their, what's the word? I can't even think of the word.
Sovereignty?
Sovereignty. I almost said amnesty.
Oh,
Same
they'll take that. At this
Yeah,
point,
they'll
right?
take that too. At this point.
Anything, guys.
But they went to assassinate whoever the president was at the time. It wasn't Coolidge. It was. I'll have to look that up.
I bet it was a white man.
Probably.
But it was a white man.
Yeah.
That's the white solution.
It's a crazy story. I'd never heard this story
I've
before. It was
never
an
heard that
interesting
either.
book called How to Hide an Empire. And I guess the president was in New York, and these dudes had found out that he was going to be in New York, and they knew he only had 2 guards. And apparently they said the guy that wrote it was like a scene from a movie. These 2 dudes come in with guns. The president was hiding upstairs. They got his guards, and as the guard went, it was like a scene from a movie. As the guard went down, I guess he shot the dudes. Only 2
See,
dudes.
this is why I believe Quantum Leap needs to come back.
Yeah.
One move.
Because Scott Bakula
Oh,
was.
come on, man.
Yeah.
One move.
I think I want to get a bodyguard that looks smaller and more frail than me, because I want him to be like a special op trained ninja. And then, like, people be like, "Oh, look, there go Chris Riggins, his little punk ass security guard," and they try us, and he be like a ninja, be like, and just slice their head off like 5 fingers of death. And then they be like, "Yo, I heard Chris Riggins got a little tiny security guard that be killing."
I was wondering where
I
you were
would-
going with this.
I don't
Security
really know
guard.
sometimes where I be going. I just thought about that assassination thing. So if somebody want to assassinate me, I'm just saying I like to have somebody who is so unsuspecting that they would attempt and then fail.
I
Because
want to meet the dude that wants to assassinate you. I'd be like, word?
yeah,
Well,
Might be a
based,
woman.
based on his social media, I think there is a list already.
Chris's social media
there's
is a
definitely a white guy that wants to kill me. It's just I don't think he has the capabilities.
Some dude hit me up mad at me. I'll tell you about that off air.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
No,
have
I didn't
sex
do
with
anything
his
by his
girl?
baby mama. No, he was mad at one of my family members, and he hit me up talking
Oh,
some
that was
crazy
some Richmond
shit.
shit.
It was. It was. And I was like, word?
Do we need to go somewhere after this?
No.
We like fucking
No.
assholes.
No.
We'll talk about it after, because if we need
After,
to make,
after the show. That's an after the show.
Edit.
Black guy discussion. But one reason why we are here together is because the social media feeds for these gentlemen. I would say please follow Chris Riggins on Facebook, Twitter. He's probably on TikTok, some other
You-
shit.
you're not on TikTok with your girls?
I don't get TikTok.
Have your daughters explain to you. You would kill on TikTok.
My
You would kill
daughter's
on
always
TikTok.
on there.
You would kill.
Anyway, so Chris always has a social media feed that's filled with like,
Vitrol.
oh
Yes.
my God. He's a very large Kanye
But love.
supporter.
Oh God, supporter, no,
It's
worshiper. He worships
different-
at the
I
altar.
don't get it. It's a deeper meaning.
I'll say this is what I'll say, and Alex can vouch for me on this. Alex one day in the van said something about Kim Kardashian.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. A lot of people say stuff about Kim.
And my whole
Oh.
thing is, if you hate people,
I remember.
your hate should have some context. Don't just hate them because you fucking hate them. And I was like, well, why do you hate her? I mean, I know why there's things that she does I don't like, but she's also done some decent things. She got that woman Alice. Was it Alice? I want to say Alice
Johnson, I
Walker.
believe.
Johnson. Alice
I feel like
Walker.
she's not a bad person. It's just a society.
Oh,
has-
we
No.
ain't going to the defense before he
She's
finishes
not a
his
bad
preface.
person. Like you're basing your whole image of her based on how the
complete
media
uselessness to society.
presents her. But here's the thing: nobody is 100% bad, 100% good. Nobody is perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I think about with Kim. And here's the thing. You know, actually, I changed my view on Kim was after the person who I actually hate forever in life and would choke to death if I saw her.
I need names.
I'll tell you later. It's
Oh,
I don't-
come on.
It's you know my whole situation. It's that person, and basically she broke it down on a very level that I never considered. I was like, yo, she's a hoe, blah blah blah, and then she's like, well, why isn't Ray J being called a hoe? And I was
Yeah.
like, that's a point because he was doing this. He was the one sleeping around that whole circle.
Yeah.
At the time.
If-
Here's the thing. What I know from my celebrity circle on how that tape got leaked, Ray J did some sleaze bag shit that if it happened a few years later, she could have got him with revenge porn law.
Word.
Because what it was they were dating. And I don't know about y'all, but we've all been we're like, hey, let's take a video, and you do that, and then basically Kim was not tripping on Ray J like that. He had that ego of like, yo, and I'm not gonna tell all the details, but basically Kim's punishment for doing that was to have to stand in public and face that shit.
With all the money
Now,
she made
if
from
you
it.
want to be mad, if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at Kris Jenner. That's the mastermind behind the evil. That
Can't we just hate them all?
No,
Like, why do we have
you
to be
can't hate
selective
them
with
all
our hate?
because here's the thing: Kris Jenner was pissed at Kim. She was like, "Yo, how the fuck you gonna make a sex tape with that nigga? Of all the niggas you
Bing.
could have fucked, that's
What about
the nigga-
Reggie Bush, Kim?
Exactly. That's the nigga you do it with? Okay,
He's
well,
got
here's
a
what's going to
Heisman.
happen.
Had a
He
Heisman.
put the tape out. Here's what we fitting to do. You're fitting to go on tour with this tape. You're
Word.
fitting to make money off this tape. That was a punishment to her. But it turned out to be the best thing for that fucking... I cannot be mad
I can.
at somebody
I can.
taking a fucked up moment in their life and flipping it. Similar to how Kobe took his bad moment and became a different person and became a better man and grew to a legacy where now we can say, you know what, he was a great man.
Now
because he did
let's
a
table
lot
it. Let's
of stuff.
table the Kobe. Now I want to hear your response to the Kim, Jabir.
So, first off, nobody calls Ray J a hoe or anything because nobody calls Ray J a thing at all. He's non-existent.
Well, wait a minute. Ray J is a West Coast king, so
Oh,
Of what? Of being
Yeah.
Brandy's brother? He's the
R&B.
king of brothers.
rapping bullshit.
He's the king of guest
We're
appearances
gonna all
on
get
Moesha.
killed. You know
hey,
that.
hey, first off, UPN, rest in peace.
Of Mark stories.
What I would suggest is there's a philosophy which says that you should be sparing with your contempt and with your hatred of people, and try to find the good in everything in every situation. And I think what that's gotten us is celebrity worship, and people non-committing to some basic
Human decency.
human hatred of just things that suck and celebrities in general. And I know one thing that happens is Chris has a lot of celebrity friends. The idea of celebrity sucks. People who are famous for doing, whether it's basketball, baseball, rapping, singing, dancing, is already problematic. But people who are famous for being famous, people who are famous for doing something that contributes nothing to society, aside from this rise of...
Now, would you say that, and again, I don't know them personally. I'm not in that circle. That is one of my rock star fantasies, is to be in that circle and be like, Kim, come here with me for a second. We're going to a socialist meeting.
She would probably go.
She would go. She would go. She watched a documentary and was like, I got to get this woman out of prison.
So
And then
what-
when
what-
she realized she wasn't the smartest one in the room, she said, yo, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Let me start studying the law so I know how to help people
So
better.
I'm
So
not
this
saying
is-
she's. Let me
this
let me
is-
say this in defense of my statement, Jabir, and I will let you finish because we got as much time as we need. It's my show. Fuck it.
Bing! God, it's
But real
so hard
talk.
being his
Real
friend.
talk. Wouldn't you say? Because my whole thing again is, I agree with you. I don't like celebrity for celebrity's sake. I think a lot of the hate she gets is racially motivated because of who she screws.
Absolutely.
Because it's a different kind of hate that comes Kim's way that Paris Hilton
Absolutely.
did not get.
Paris got none of that.
None of that hate.
She got plenty. She did not get.
That level.
fraction
She
at
got-
all.
It's a
she got
diff. It's a
this
diff.
kinda hate.
She
It's
let
a
the
different
team
level.
down morally, not racially.
And that's why sometimes I have a little pushback when I see people talk shit about her, because I always think it comes from this place of like, I just hate her because I hate her. And I think a lot of people are like, I hate people that are famous for being famous, but then they watch reality television.
Oh yeah.
The hypocrisy in that. And then I'm like, of all the people that hate her, she's done more with that little bit of celebrity than a lot of these motherfuckers that are celebrities that are hating her.
No argument at all.
Yeah.
Like I can't. There's a dude. He plays in a band called Slayer, and he's got a shirt that says "Kill the Kardashians." I was like, you can hate those people all you want, but you ain't getting motherfuckers out of prison.
And why you want to kill them though? It's just like live and let live.
No,
I mean,
no, everybody don't need to live.
You live and let live.
Everybody does not need to live.
Yeah, an evil person that hurts people. Yeah, okay, probably need to kill him.
Well, I'll say this. I do remember that conversation in the car, in the van, and you totally pointed out that I knew nothing about her. I was like, shit, I can't say anything. I don't know anything about her. I don't like reality television. Those shows seem stupid to me.
And that's okay.
Yeah, they
but
are
that's all,
stupid.
that's
But
all
there's
I
stuff
know
for
about
you.
it.
But isn't that enough for you to justify
yeah.
your feelings?
here's the
Well,
thing.
yes and no. I mean, it kind of made me feel kind of stupid because I was
don't
going around
know
saying
these
I don't like this
people.
person, and I actually don't know this person.
But you
at
didn't
all.
like her. You had nothing to like about her. So to me, it's the same as love at first sight, right? Who's to say that you can't fall in love at first sight simply based upon seeing somebody walk into a room and saying, that's somebody that I
you
want to
hate
get
her
to know?
because
Yeah.
she
And
just,
why can't
Why I
you
got all
have
these
hate
kids
on
now,
first
Jabir?
sight?
you're hating.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nigga making niggas.
Oh, come on. Come on.
That's a double one.
Come on.
I had to throw that one in there. I had to. That was a good one. That was that was a poignant one. That had a purpose.
I think I don't know. Like I said, I think some of that hate comes and it's a little racially motivated, and I think we need to kind of go, okay.
I think it's like, what are you doing in your life?
So
Worry about
this
your
is my
life
problem with that.
instead of hating
And she's
this person
so
who's
easily,
doing
and
her
we've
life.
seen, but we've seen she's so easily swayed, and she has a huge platform.
So is most of the public.
This is
I've sat
why
and
this is
watched
not
these
okay.
people be easily swayed by, like I just said it. The reason why I don't care about people's opinions or my opinions is because if I say something you agree with, I'm the smartest nigga you know. Oh, he's great.
Bing.
Oh, you on point. Oh, Chris, you be telling the truth. Oh, Chris, you about that. Yeah, right on, right on. But as soon as I say something you don't like, oh, you hella weird. You know what I'm saying? You know how many times I get called gay a day? And it fucking pisses me off, but I let it slide because it's like, you know what? I don't give a fuck what you think about me. My girl who I'm smashing loves the dick. I don't give a fuck
Well,
what you think.
okay. So let's
it's like,
get away from the
Jabir-
Chris
wait a minute,
Riggins
let
sex
Jabir
talk.
get-
The Chris Riggins sex tape coming out in 2020.
It could be.
So
Y'all
going.
want to be in it?
I'm good.
You say you want to pee in it or be
No,
in
he
it?
said, "Do we want to be in his?"
I thought you said
tape?
you wanna
Could be
pee in it.
in the background.
Whoa!
peeing. Y'all could be in the background peeing.
Kelly shit.
Right.
Y'all be not on people up in the background, just in the bathroom, like,
background peeing.
hey, that.
He's
That
trying to
looks
cover
like some
all the like.
all the faces.
Be like a '90s VHS porn where all the homies was there.
So returning to the original point.
I'm sorry.
And one of the things that people say is, oh, and I'm all with it. Chris, what's her face? Kardashian, Kim Kardashian, has done more to liberate people and more to liberate black people than lots of people. He's done more than lots of nonprofit organizations. And I will also say Donald Trump has done lots more than lots of organizations because he's the one that signed the executive orders. That doesn't make him good. That doesn't make him useful because
That's
guess
a
what
terrible
shit is?
comparison.
I'm going to use my curse word.
First Step Act.
I'm
She
going
was
to
part of the First Step Act.
I'm going to
What are
use
you
my
talking
I'm going to
about?
use my one curse word and say manure, shit, has purposes. It is waste. It is disgusting. It is harmful. But even that has nitrogen in it. Even that's something that you can put into the earth and grow things from. That doesn't make it good. That makes it able to serve a purpose.
But this woman is not
But
Donald Trump.
but bigger than what he's saying.
That's like saying a rapist and a person who steals bread are the same fucking kind of
No,
criminal.
she was part of the First Step Act, and she actually the First Step Act.
That happened
okay,
because she
but
went to
we're
him.
talking about now,
Right?
Yeah,
What is
no,
she
that just
doing?
got signed.
She's learning more about that shit. Yes, she went and talked to him because he's the fucking president.
But
what
that
do you
First
do?
Step Act, to what
Happened
Jabir-
because he invited her in.
Yeah.
She got a
he
platform.
invited her in, but
and-
we know that was a sham.
How's it a
She's
sham if
shown
people
the
getting
real
free?
work.
How's it?
She's
So why is
shown
it
the
when
real-
she
it's like-
does it? and
It's
he
a
signed
sham
up
because he wanted to look good. He's trying to get a vote.
What
So, of
vote?
course that
What vote is he
motherfucker's
trying to
gonna be
get?
like,
What
of
vote is Trump trying to get liberated
Your
people?
vote, my vote.
He already had my
He
vote.
wants the black
He already
vote.
got my vote.
He wants the
I want
black-
this country to be destroyed. Trump is the quickest way to it. He got my vote straight up from drop. He ain't got to do nothing else to get it.
When you put it like that, that makes sense.
Right.
But
Hey,
he
at
wasn't
the
trying to
end
get
of
no
the day,
vote with that.
Holding these two people as the same person.
They're not the same
because
person.
They were
They're
on this,
both
that's
useless
like,
and still serve a
That's like
purpose.
saying, okay, that's like saying I took a picture with Bill Cosby, now I support rape. That's not, you can't do that.
Wait a
She's
minute,
working-
wasn't Snoop doing that like last week with Oprah?
You can't do, but then he got pictures with Trump. He got pictures with all them niggas too, because
Bing,
that's
bing.
what that's what that whole scene is. If you go to a gala event and you know Harvey Weinstein's the biggest producer in the game, and you don't know he's raping bitches. Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture with the biggest motherfucker in the game. What's up, my nigga? You gonna take that picture?
Whoa! Strike that, please.
No. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, does that make me support what he does? Of
course not.
No.
But what does that have to do with comparing people who are
Donald Trump
useless?
Brought in Kim Kardashian to use her fame
No.
to get his. No. Listen,
Why would
let me-
what
let
would
me
make
speak
you
my
say
point.
that he's
You
trying
let
to
me speak
use
my
her
point.
fame?
You
He's
can't
the
even-
most powerful person
you
in the
don't even know
world. What is he
I'm
trying to
about
get at?
say. Because he's an egomaniac. He's a narcissist.
So then, what would a narcissist need for somebody less than him?
Because he likes that shit. He wants to be the
He
celebrity.
wanted that
for being
fat
a
ass in his
celebrity.
office, though. Real
When you
talk,
talk about a
Jabir.
useless
I got
celebrity.
I wouldn't argue that part.
When you talk about a useless celebrity for being a celebrity, that's
He's the
Donald
main one.
Trump. Kim is just a beautiful woman that had a sex tape come out that everybody's like, oh, she's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's put her in ads.
Kinda.
She's done nothing but smile in ads and take pictures.
That's
and people
all she's
are
done.
mad.
That's all she's done.
What does she do?
She has not.
What does she do? What does she do?
But she has not represented materialism to the absolute
She
worst.
sells products to make money.
No,
she has
she
a
does.
job.
Oh,
She represents
I mean,
material.
Hold on,
you're
wait,
right, though.
hold-
That's
we
her-
all
that's
do.
her
You're
image.
wearing
No,
Nike.
but what I'm saying is,
That's what I
I
do.
can
You're
say
wearing
that's
Nikes.
disgusting.
He's
You're
right.
wearing Nikes.
What does me wearing?
materialist-
What does me
It's
wearing
not
Nike
different.
say?
With a
Bro,
Mac?
you
With
are-
what are we recording on? That's a Mac.
So your argument
you're
is
saying
people
you
have
bought that
things-
just because you didn't see that in
People
an ad?
have
You're
things, so
saying
now
you
they
bought
can't
a
have
Mac just
opinions?
because-
Alex, as a white man, you were supposed to warn me
Come
about
on.
having all these
What's,
black people.
what
Come
argument are you
on.
trying to make? So I have
The
Nike,
point
so
I'm
therefore
trying to
I
make is
can't
you
say
can't get
somebody's
mad at
materialistic.
somebody for making money off making money.
I
You
absolutely
can't do
can.
that.
I can have an
Why
opinion.
are you mad at her for feeding her family, doing something that's harmless? Mine to say you don't have to buy her product.
Time out. Let me just say this, and then we're gonna move on.
Oh no!
Hold on, let me just
Oh
say
no!
this. We're gonna move on.
Move on. This is the first 4-hour podcast in history, right?
That family was fed like a motherfucker. Let's not act like she's one of these dudes out here in one of these RVs.
But why are we mad at her? Because she was.
We don't have to be
It wasn't
mad at her.
fault.
We don't have to be
Her dad was a
mad,
lawyer.
but we can
Okay, she had
dislike.
money.
Hold
we can
on.
dislike.
Mad at her now.
We're not mad. We
It's
just
not,
hate
no,
her.
it's not about. I don't hate because I don't. I don't care enough.
I hate.
I think I've been watching the Star Wars
hate
movies
the
with my
police.
kids, my new son.
Anger leads to.
And
hate.
so I'm kind of like, you can sway these people to the right side of the
Oh
force.
gosh.
I hate my baby mama,
How's that?
but I don't hate Kim. Cause
Well, hey,
She
okay,
ain't
we're
did
gonna
nothing
move
to
on
me.
from Kim because that was
My
not
baby
supposed
mama
to be
cheated on
I
me.
want to
Yeah,
know.
holy
bailiwick
shit.
for this show.
I want to know what you think. How did that work out for the Jedi?
I haven't seen the last movie.
Oh,
Don't tell me anything about the
No,
last
I
movie.
ain't seen it either.
Don't see it.
I ain't seen it either.
I haven't seen the last movie. Don't tell me anything
Man.
about it.
I'm put like this. I ain't gonna tell you about it, but I'm gonna tell you like this. White women ain't shit.
We knew that going into the movie.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me nothing about it. So moving on from white women.
Oh, that's where we draw the line. That's where the line is drawn. Okay, now we got to move on.
Chris-
now we got to move on.
Hold on.
Yeah, right.
He performs for the white people.
Oh, right. Oh,
You know
Ooh,
what?
the microphone turns back
I do.
around.
I do perform in front of a lot of white people.
The voices of Chris Riggins and Jabir do not speak for Bitter Lake the band.
I perform in front of a lot of white people, and I assume every night that I get on stage that they're going to tell me to get the fuck off.
Ooh, the Hootie experience, huh?
That's probably only happened like once, though, right? Has that actually happened?
That actually happened.
Really?
But I wasn't. It was me and Cindy were in the same Meridian, Mississippi. So the town where the trial was, where the
Edgar Rivers.
3 people, the civil rights workers, 2 white guys
Oh,
and a black
the-
kid,
oh, yeah,
got killed.
Yeah.
We were in Meridian, Mississippi,
Close to
performing,
Mississippi.
and we got on the stage. We were a little late. We're never late, and they were kind of like weird about it. And it was a very odd crowd. And we got on stage and we were doing our thing, which is it was like arty metal, whatever you want to call it, industrial. And the owner of the venue came up to us and was like, "I need you to leave."
During your set.
Yep, I need you to leave now.
Like the building, like
yes,
leave the state.
we did.
Yeah.
You think
I
I'm
would've
bullshitting?
too. I would have left that state.
Give me
too.
like so you had 30-minute set, whatever the set is.
Yeah.
And what period of time is this?
Second song in.
Oh shoot.
Ooh. Ugh.
He was like, I had enough of this shit. He was like, get the fuck out. And so as we had set up our little merch area, and we were kind of bummed, right? And I'm mad, but I'm also in Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah, so you got to check that anger.
You want to know what teaches you patience? Being mad in Meridian, Mississippi. I mean, they knew I was mad. They knew Cindy was mad because we're throwing shit. Like, we're mad, but we're not
Towards them mad. You're just like, you know,
keep
like
this
when your mom.
inside.
When
We
your
gonna get
mom,
mad at ourselves.
when your
and
mom
yell
make you
this-
mad?
Yeah,
and
that
you
kind of
like,
mad. Under your breath. What'd you say? Nothing.
Can't wait to move out.
So as Cindy walks over to grab the merchandise, we're just loading our stuff up on the stage. We're pissed. Everybody that was there bought something.
Oh, wow.
And there was a white man. I will never forget this because it really fucked my head up. A white man comes up to me, and we had just released our vinyl at the time. And if you know, we were talking about this last week. Records are very expensive to buy, and we didn't do that thing where we bought a whole bunch of records because we knew if we don't sell these, we're gonna be stuck with all this shit. So we bought the cheapest with 250 copies or whatever, and we actually were selling them quite well in this tour. But anyway, this white man walks up to me, and he's got a shirt like on his arm, and he's holding our record, which is that record right there on the wall. It's a very provocative cover. And this man has on the puffy down vest and the John Deere hat and the plaid shirt and the Wranglers. He looks like he is not trying to listen to anything I do. He's a little older. And he looks at me in the eye and he goes, I can't wait to listen to this. And I hope you find it in your heart to come back to Meridian, Mississippi.
Sorry.
No. Right. That's a moment of conflict, right? You have this horrible experience, but
Right.
then the people validate you.
It fucked me up. So 2 years later, we actually ended up going to Oxford, Mississippi, which is where Ole Miss is, and met these kids that we told them, we were like, dude, we had a bad. They made us leave, and they're like, nah. We played the show. The show went well. They ended up giving us a place to crash. They took us out the next day to like, this place got voted the best breakfast in America. We're gonna take you guys out to this place. I still talk to most of these kids on social media to this day. Like, you can meet good people amongst the bullshit, but I actually have, you know, I never know what I'm gonna get when I get up on stage, because you're right, I am gonna get up on stage in front of a bunch of
And
white
that's
people.
why you're in the band, Alex.
Right.
I've told him that before. It's like, I need some validation.
I mean, no. You're a
to
dope
sell these
musician.
records.
That's a plus. But, you know, the fact that you fit in.
Just saying, go on in and check out the room first.
Take a lap. See, check the vibe. Fill it out before I get out this.
Hey, you want to hear something funny? I'll say this on air. So when Cindy had left, and I was like trying to get a new band together, I ran into Boots. Boots Riley was here. He actually filmed a lot of his, did a lot of his movie stuff here for Sorry to Bother You. And so Boots was in the hallway, and he was like, he always introduced me as, oh, this is Jason. He's in a band with his wife. It's really cool. So he introduced me to somebody. He's like, he's in a band with his wife. I was like, she left, Boots. And he looks at me, he goes, well, you had an experience that most people can't say that they've had, and that's pretty cool. And I said, Boots, I want to get a new band, and I want to get an all-black punk band. And he goes,
Stepping on my toes, pal.
That's a Bootsism.
Stepping on my
You might want to bring a token in there.
Stay on your turf, darky.
all black?
Yeah. I know the guy named Alex. Maybe want to bring him in. Just saying.
The look on his face,
Yeah.
is like, ooh.
That's a Bootsism, right?
But what I wanted to talk about was not that. I want to talk about, so Chris Riggins on social media says he puts these post grenades out. Not in some of them are trolly, but when he writes
poster.
He is a shit poster.
He
is a shit
I'm
poster.
an opinionated poster.
That's what
I
a shit
post
poster is.
My opinion, and I don't care
Pardon my language,
whether
folks. I know
you
you're not used to me
agree with. It's your third curse word.
Yeah, I
so
know.
watch it now. I mean,
So
I'm feeling myself.
It's like 10
my niggas in a minute.
10 niggas to one Jabir curse is the ding is a factor.
It's about the same
But no,
thing.
you said something that was real interesting to me that kind of teed off a lot of people, and it's one of your longer threads. Whenever you talk about black men's relationship to black women, it always sets off
powder keg.
It is a powder keg.
And
it seems like, and I'm gonna ask this question and I'm gonna move away, partially because I might have gas.
Appreciate the distance.
Go sit downstairs. Literally.
No, but I feel a little gassy.
A little noxious.
But seriously, when the Gale King thing hit with her asking Lisa Leslie those questions about Kobe, the backlash by Snoop, which was just this vitriol. He went on this just vitrolic F you and free Bill Cosby and black women ain't shit. You want to take the black man down? It's almost like anytime these rape accusations happen, every black man that's accused is Emmett Till.
yes. And here's the thing.
Was that your question?
Yes.
I recognize that there's a dark history of white women accusing black men of rape and those black men paying with their lives for it. And that's a history that you can never take out of the equation. My concern more is our women who've been abused by black men who are being told to be quiet because if you say this, that means you hate black men. And I feel like for me, it's kind of like this is where those keep that same energy people fall off from me because they never keep that same energy. I'm one of those, I'm keeping the same energy for everybody. So I'm going to call out the racism. I'm going to call out the sexism. I'm going to call out the homophobia. I'm going to call out everybody on their shit because at the end of the day, I'm not perfect. And if this is why I keep someone like Jabir around. I do listen to most of what he says and his points. I don't agree with it all. Sometimes I feel he's a little trolling me back, but that's because I know we have.
I would never.
We have a banterful. Like I know him. I know him outside of the scope of social media. So with him, it's different. I do respect his opinion on things a lot better. I just like to. I feel like in the situation, we need to talk to each other, even if it starts off a little harsh, even if it comes off a little. It has to. We have to break that down and get to a point where black women can come to us and say, "Hey, listen to us too." You know, and I feel like there's a lot of black men that are very pro-black until it comes to black women. It's like, I'm pro-black. Hey, black man, we over here, we need some help. You bitches trying to hate on the black man. Like, it just like doesn't fit for me. Because like, for instance, like I said, I don't really care about the Gale questions. Whatever you feel about them, that's your right to feel. I get both sides. I do understand why people are mad, and I understand why people are not mad. But what Snoop did was Snoop lit a powder keg. Because Snoop has made a career over the generations. He's made a career off the disrespect of black women. Mm-hmm. He glorified the pimp life. Mm-hmm. He glorified all this disrespect towards black women because
there's no past tense about it.
He wasn't. Yeah, he still glorifies it.
That's what he does.
Exactly. And so I feel like if we're gonna say Gale King hates all black men for asking that question, we need to say, well, Snoop must hate all black women for 30 plus years of saying it.
Well,
and so it's keep the same energy. Either Gale hates all black men because she asked that question, and Snoop hates all black women because he raps like that, or it's more nuanced.
Or it's not.
She made a question that people don't like, which may have been and I understand that, but that doesn't deserve funky dog headed bitch.
So here's where everybody goes wrong. What you just said was completely 100% true. Everything you said, which is the problem. Snoop Dogg is not qualified to speak on anything for anybody, except for a very select group of misogynists who have a long public history of misogyny against black women. So because of that, he does not represent black men. Yes. And he should not be the person where people say Snoop Dogg did this very disrespectfully, and therefore black men do this. It is a false narrative, and it becomes this equivalency that is absolutely disingenuous. And it's a way to say, just silence people who have a legitimate criticism. So for me, I think what Gale King did was cowardly. I think it's the same thing that people do when Trayvon was killed, when Michael Brown was killed, is that we look to these people, a certain type of person looks to these people when they die and wants to tell the story about their death. Don't start memorializing them. Don't start saying don't put a picture of Trayvon with the kid. Put the picture up with him with his gold fronts on. They want to tell a story about violence. They want to tell a story about looking into their past. Or you can't find something about their past. They want to come to their parents' past. And this is a common thing that's happened with John Crawford. I mean, just over and over and over again. So with the Kobe situation, what a certain element is trying to do is to redefine his story. They didn't ask him about these questions the 20 plus years since it happened. They didn't ask about it when he retired. They didn't ask about it when he was doing the Mamba Academy. Once he dies, it's a race to try to tell the story that you want to tell.
Now there was a backlash. I don't know if it was some sort of Hall of Fame thing or no. When he won
the Oscar.
Yeah.
When he won the Oscar, there was a boycott.
A certain fringe element wants to try to tell a specific story.
Well, here's the thing with Gale. I don't see that. What I saw in that question, that interview, what I saw Gale saying to a friend of Kobe's, all these people have been saying this negative shit about Kobe.
Not all these people.
How about you set the record straight? Because no one else has said what Lisa said. Yes, that's where I guess I don't have the problem, because Lisa answered it for all of us. Lisa put it there and said, "Why are you bringing it up now?" Lisa answered the question that we all wanted to answer. Gale set her up to say, "Hey, defend your friend."
No, Gale set her up to do a hit piece, which is why it violated journalistic ethics. No, that's why it violated journalistic ethics. It was not appropriate. It was a hit piece.
It was a question.
It was absolutely
that people
a violation.
Don't like.
Now,
here's the thing: I get why people don't like it, but at the end of the day, Lisa answered it perfect for everybody. It needed nothing else.
Jabir brings up the question of journalistic ethics, and I think when I think of journalism, I think of like Chris Hedges, Amy Goodman, Glenn Greenwald.
Free Glenn.
You know, I think of, we were in Brazil when he broke that.
Ooh, snap.
Yeah, we were touring down there when he did that. Yeah. So I think about those cats. I don't think of journalism. I'm not trying to shit on Gale King.
There's a celebrity journalism too. There is a celebrity.
But she's trying to say, I'm a journalist that was doing my job. You don't get to say, hide behind journalism and then say, I'm not going to be held to a standard.
She didn't do anything wrong. She asked a question
absolutely
you don't like.
Did. And
she asked a question you don't like.
This is the thing. If you're just going to say that there's no morals, if you can say there's no standards.
Kobe, she didn't say that. She worded it very specifically.
Repeatedly to get a reaction. That is the difference. If you're going to say there's no standards.
So you're more upset about her, how many times she asked, as opposed to the question.
I'm not upset. I think what she did was disgusting, and I think there's absolutely no way that because of Snoop, now we're going to say there's no room for criticism from black men. Because we're going to use this Snoop thing and how he responded as a way to completely criticize him against him.
Let me extrapolate it. Let's keep in mind another big reason for the backlash was because Gale and Oprah are doing this or producing this documentary about Russell Simmons.
They pulled out. It's not even Gale producing. Oprah's the one with the money. Gale just works for CBS. That's the thing. People are.
Was it Oprah producing it?
She was. Then she pulled out.
Oprah, but
she did pull out because per Russell Simmons' request, right?
No, because the story that I read was that she was not happy with the result. She was not happy with the path the story that they were telling. Russell asked her, and she said, "I'm not bowing out because of that." But it started getting closer to Sundance, and she said, "This is not what I want to associate with my name."
So it's not going to see the light of day.
It is, but not without her.
Without her.
Without Oprah.
Yeah.
So the Russell Simmons documentary.
It's
not just about him, or is it just about him?
Mike, I'll say this. I'm not going to disbelieve that Russell Simmons has sexually assaulted women because I work for Def Jam.
Thank God. Edit.
I'm gonna put it like this.
Edit.
I think it's a slippery slope. I think it's like what you say. Because of Snoop, now all black men's critiques are being judged.
Silenced. Not judged.
No.
Silenced.
They still can write it.
Silenced.
People are still writing the shit on Facebook.
Because now what it is you're saying that death threats, you're okay with death threats, you're okay with disrespect.
Let's not use that word silence because there are people in this part of the country, and there are people in different parts of the world who are actually being killed.
That's what I didn't say killed. I said silence.
That's silencing.
No, silence is anytime
you shut up or arguing with somebody on Facebook because their opinion is not silence.
If you disregard an entire population,
well, nobody regards.
Yes, that is exactly what's happening.
But here's the thing. Then let's put that on Snoop for fucking up. You should have talked to
That's what he does. He is a non-factor. He is invalid.
The problem is he has a platform.
He has a platform given to him by the same people who are trying to use him as the voice of black men.
But here's the
thing.
And
that's why it's completely invalid.
But that's the thing. Nobody's against the critique. Everybody's against how the critique came out.
Lots of people are against the critique. Everybody's against the voice.
Some people, well, here's the thing. Just like me and you disagree on Gale's thing, people are going to disagree on that. But at the end of the day, me and you know he was fucking foul.
I don't think he was foul. I think it's foul, period. So therefore, what he did was invalid.
So if
Snoop. Okay. He is he has made a career on disrespecting black women. Okay. Therefore, what he says is not valid. Therefore, bringing it up
It's
and saying
very valid
what he
because
did was
people-
really wrong.
because
That's what he
it got
does.
shared millions of times, and then
And so did Doggy Style, and so did Nothing But a G Thing. So did G's Up,
you're
Hose
okay-
Down.
you're okay
No,
with
I'm
the death
not
threats?
okay with it. That's the whole. First, what death threat?
Okay, well, so I'm trying to let
What
me
death
finish.
threat?
Let me finish.
What
I'm
death
saying.
threat? No, I'm not okay with him being the topic of discussion. He has proven himself for his entire adult life, since he was 16 or 17 years
Yeah.
old, to be absolutely
But that's the
unqualified to
problem.
speak in
That's
any way
you,
whatsoever.
and you're a rational.
That's
adult.
not
I
irrational.
agree
He
with
has
you.
proven this.
I agree with you on that.
So
But
therefore,
unfortunately,
at the time,
we live
if-
in a society where he is the discussion, the topic of discussion,
and therefore
because of
the
what he
discussion
This is what
becomes
Barbershop
what
was
Why
like,
Snoop did
couldn't the
was wrong.
critique come more like, "Hey, Gail,
When you go to the black
we
barbershop,
don't really
and
That's not.
appreciate
listen
that.
sounds
He
Let's
is
talk
foul.
about it."
He does not exist.
To me, what it seems
You
like,
wanna go now,
okay,
don't
like
you?
I said, whether you agree or disagree with Gail is not really my issue. If it's your issue, that's fine. What I'm more concerned about how we disagree.
And,
How
and
do
the
we-
reason why we have this
how do
discussion
we
on
do that?
how is because of Snoop, which is why I said it is a moving of the goalpost, and not about her, and now it's about Snoop.
Well, it could
Snoop
be about
is
her
not
if
the
Snoop
factor,
hadn't jumped up and said to his millions of followers, "Fuck that funky dog-headed bitch."
which is
Like,
why
I
it's
think-
absolutely imperative. The problem becomes all it takes is one op to do something and say something to completely change the conversation, and that is disingenuous. That is the problem.
He's that op. He became that op.
He is that op, and that's the problem. People go for the op and then want to have a conversation about the op instead of the subject. So now the subject is no longer why Gale King was foul and her being proven to be journalistically without ethics. Now the conversation is about Snoop. Snoop has proven that he is
like this.
not qualified to speak
I'll be
for
more
black
mad
people,
at Gail
on black people, or
when
to black
y'all
women.
cancel Harvey Levin. When I stop seeing TMZ being shared by every Negro saying this is when it's real, you know it's real when TMZ shares it. If TMZ, when I stop seeing that, then I'll be mad at Gail.
Well, let me
then
ask
I'll
you-
be like, yo, Gail, fuck you. I just feel like I would rather be a black woman asking those kind of questions than the white media who's not going to give the other black woman a chance
Let me ask
to
you this
answer.
question then about, because you said something about celebrity journalism, because we're over here talking about like real journalists that literally are risking their Chelsea Manning. Well, I don't know if you can call Chelsea Manning
Her check is
journalist.
real.
Snowden. Well,
Yeah,
these are more leakers.
Even Snowden's not right.
But you know what I mean.
Blumenthal.
And you said Bloomberg.
Blumenthal, Max.
Oh, Max Blumenthal.
Bloomberg, hey,
Whoa,
hey,
what?
hey.
I'm about to throw this microphone.
This is going to be a
Show's
6-hour
over.
podcast. We get to Bloomberg.
No, when you said celebrity journalism and then you brought up TMZ, do you guys think that? Because we grew up with Entertainment Tonight, it was a half-hour
Puff
show, super puff pieces. Like, look, it's Gary Coleman behind the scenes, and he's just as smiley as when he's Arnold.
He can touch the wheels. He can touch the pedals on his new Lamborghini.
But
What you
remember,
talking
like,
about?
that's what we saw for decades growing up. And then it got kind of the reality television with MTV and the real world. We wanted to see the real meat, what people are really
Yeah. That's
doing.
when it was still real.
And you're busting people doing dope and cheating on their spouses and all this shit. And cops. Has that era, in your opinion, changed then the way we look at some sort of true quote-unquote celebrity journalism?
Oh, definitely. That era birthed what we're going through now. Harvey Levin was producing those shows back in the day. He was just, you know what I mean? He was the lawyer for those. You know what I mean? It's like it's like if you look at music, like, you know, you look at disco, then you got house. Disco birthed house in a way. You know what I mean? It's the same four on the floor rhythm. You know, you got punk that came out of something else. All these arts came out of something else. So even in the scope of media, like I remember, you know, it feels like the National Enquirer is now taking over TV. That's how it feels like. The National Enquirer, we used to sit there at the
check
store and be
stand,
like,
right.
Look at that. Oh, that is not real. Now
Interesting.
those people are producing the news. Because even if you look at our so-called news stations, they're so biased. You got Fox on this side, who we know they cater to. CNN, who tries to pretend like they cater to us, but they cater to them too. MSNBC, who's the worst, because they're just like white guilt network. Like, hey, oh, we're so filmed.
Russia,
I'm a nice
Russia.
white person.
The Russian network,
Look,
right.
can I come to the cookout like that shit? And I don't want to watch that. The only news I watch is local news. And even that, I got to be careful because like I got to forget
Sinclair Media
that
owns it all.
channel,
Thank you.
that channel 2, which is the station that I have friends that work at, Alex Savage. I went to youth radio with him. I know this kid. I still have to remember he's reading for Fox. And I have to remember, like, I've texted him several mornings when I was like, why are you reporting that story like that? Like, it was a shooting and a police shot somebody, and literally the words came out of his mouth were like, you know, police killed a suspect last night. And I was like, but wait a minute. That's not what we and the people who knew him as he was not a suspect. Y'all suspected him of something and shot him. And I told him that, and he literally said, I'm sorry, dude. I'll make sure. And literally, I saw the next segment. He changed it. But that's just not, everybody doesn't have that to call the newsman and say, hey, Alex, that was wrong. So now we're living in a case where, Harvey Levin is the king of news now. People will see some shit literally on CNN and wait till like Kobe's death. Nobody
His
believed
wife
it.
found out on TMZ first. Yeah.
But nobody's canceling him. Nobody's going after Harvey Levin. So I'm not to go back to that, but I'm just saying I am not happy with the way that we have construed and turned what informational journalism, I'd say, more investigative, more real journalism into puff journalism. Like what's happened is Entertainment Tonight has crashed in with the ABC Nightly News, and it's
well the way it's shown. If you bother to watch, and a guy named Tom Hartman, I don't know if you've ever watched the Tom Hartman show. He's a political pundit to the left. He and he's an older white dude, and he said something very interesting. He to the left, a true leftist. I have his books on voter suppression and.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, I know.
He goes. I don't like MSNBC because I don't want to watch prison shows all night. He goes. Me and my wife want to watch news. He goes. So what do I have to watch?
Oh,
he goes. Fox.
Yeah.
He goes. Fox, and he hates Fox. He goes. That's true. The only thing. That's the only channel that has news on. I'm using finger quotes. You can't see. Quote unquote news, because they have true news shows. They don't fill it with a bunch of prison shows and all these
showing more black. That's I never thought about showing a bunch of black poor people
and he was like,
bars.
I see why people watch so much Fox News, because if you're an older person like myself and you just want to watch a news show, you turn on CNN and they got some bullshit on. You turn on MSNBC, they got some weird prison shit on. You turn on Fox, if you don't know about the bias.
Right.
You don't understand the bias because news to you was never biased, because we're talking about baby boomers that grew up in a day and age where there was a bias agreement in the law that you had to report. If you talked about one thing, you had to talk about another. If you talked about this for so long, you had to talk about that for so long. Now that that's gone, Rush Limbaugh's getting
Presidential Medal of Honor.
Presidential Medal of Honor.
Freedom. Like, what?
Yeah.
This man has spewed nothing. Remember when he was on ESPN?
That's what I was just about to say. He was respected enough to be called in and talked about Donovan McNabb.
That was the only episode he was on. They fired ESPN, fired Rush Limbaugh. He was on Alex. I know you don't know because you don't know sports. ESPN was going to shake shit up.
Yeah, and they did.
And they brought in Rush Limbaugh to their Sunday morning show. This is when ESPN Sunday morning was it. That's all before the NFL Network. I think it was even before they had Fox and had those 4-hour shows. They were still an hour before.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I think
an hour before game time. But it was an hour before game time.
There was no big thing.
And so ESPN had a 3-4 hour show in the day. Rush Limbaugh came in. The first thing Rush Limbaugh said about a game, it was the Eagles. I couldn't tell you who the Eagles were playing, but Donovan McNabb was their quarterback, who was a black quarterback. And there wasn't that many at the time. I don't even know if Michael Vick was in the league at this time.
If he was, it was still one of few.
Yeah. So Rush Limbaugh said, ostensibly, the only reason why Donovan McNabb has a job is because he's black.
Oh, no, he went worse than that.
You remember exactly
he
what
went worse. He said the league and people want him to do so well because he's so black, but he's been so overrated. But people want the story of a black quarterback doing well.
And
everybody,
I think that was day one.
That was the first day. Hey, they pan over to Tom Jackson. Tom Jackson is like,
and Tom
Chris
Jackson.
Berman. They had to cut. If you remember that, they had to cut. Because Rush Limbaugh was like, what? Isn't this what you guys want? Nigger jokes and fucking...
Bang.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, it's infectious.
Yeah. If I drop one, I got to go.
And that's what...
It's Black History Month.
Watching him win that medal, or not win, he didn't win it, but watching him
receive
get that.
Be gifted.
By that president.
Yeah.
And then have that president bring up Juan Guaido.
Oh, God. And be applauded by both sides of the aisle.
Well, that's how you know they played the same
Who was there? I will say this. Who was there?
Who was present? But I say both sides of the aisle. So it wasn't as though the Democrats sat and the
Nancy
Republicans
Pelosi
stood.
shot up
Pelosi
like Juan
was
Guaido
raced.
Was finna come over later. She shot the fuck up.
Oh yeah,
You saw that? She showed-
president.
Oh Lord,
The
it's
true
Juan?
president, right?
You didn't tell me Juan was here.
They called him. He said interim president, didn't he?
Yeah. he
Oh
said-
my God.
No. He said the true president. He said,
Oh God.
true president of Venezuela.
Wow.
So Juan Guaido, who hasn't been in Venezuela.
No. Oh no. You saw what just happened. When
Oh, brother. He tried to come back, and the people was like, man, fuck you. Throwing drinks at him. Man,
Garbage,
fuck you.
yeah.
You ain't nobody.
Yeah.
wow, that's
And we hate the dude that's in office, but fuck you.
yeah.
That's how much we hate you.
That's how much people hate Trump. They're like Bush. Oh, that guy was so. We missed that little guy.
You know what's so funny about Donald Trump? And this is just my opinion. Donald Trump has made us forget George Bush. And every
Without a doubt.
critique I hear about Donald Trump, I'm like, wait a minute. That's George Bush. And Matt Taibbi, another great journalist, actually said, without George Bush Jr., you don't get Donald Trump.
True that.
I agree because without George Bush Jr., you don't get Obama, and without Obama, you don't get Trump.
Yeah, because Trump is the it's like the opposite reaction to Obama. Them white boys like, whoa, we
Yeah.
gotta go the opposite.
Yep.
We had a cool black president. We have to get the worst white guy we can find.
But you know what? I saw on tour. I was talking to Shahed. I think I said this before on air. I do volunteer work for the Shahed Buttar campaign. If you can donate to Shahed Buttar, he is running against Nancy Pelosi.
The
Democrats.
clapper, the
Democratic
Ripper,
Socialist.
Nancy the Ripper
That
Pelosi.
dude at City Hall in San Francisco.
Probably.
Yeah.
Legit dude.
Yeah.
What was we saying? He made me forget what I was saying, guys.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Conversation.
he was asking me about we're talking about Trump for some reason. I was like, I saw the 2012. 2012 was the first time I was terrified to be a black man in America. Like terrified. And not in that way that people say they scared of the cops. I mean, like everywhere I went, the vitrol was there.
Why 2012?
That was the second Obama election.
Yeah.
And nothing changed. And not just nothing changed, but a lot of white people in the middle of the country felt duped into voting for Obama. Because you got to keep in mind, it's not like he was the first black dude that's kind of been in middle America. I mean, I'm not saying Fred Hampton was a bad guy, but Fred Hampton was down in West Virginia talking about unifying people and worker movements. And people kind of looked at Obama like he was going to be this next big thing that was going to unify people and was going to help the working class. And he didn't. He's Reagan 2.0.
Yeah.
And instead of people having a nuanced take on that, people really drew sides. And a lot of the hate I felt coming from it definitely was racialized.
Yeah.
But that racialized hate definitely just didn't come because they didn't like black guys. A lot of it came from the fact it's like, well, nothing's changing for me, and it's actually getting worse. You get the big oil spill, the BP spill.
Yeah.
I have friends that lost their jobs because of that, because I worked in the Gulf of Mexico. You know, that destroyed that area. And what did BP get? A $20 billion fine, and they still reported record profits.
Yeah.
So when you don't see those changes, everything's getting exponentially worse for you, your tendency is to look towards the top. And 2012 was that year that I felt that people were looking at the top, and the Obama supporters, the bourgeoisie black, I feel, the big Obama supporters, and of course the elites, Democratic elites, they were like, well, just wait and see, because this is his last term, and this is when all the great shit's going to happen.
Oh, right now he's a lame duck. Now he's going to have the real policy.
2016 is the year that he drinks the water in Flint.
Oh, fake sips?
It's the year that he finally walks into a prison.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, Black Lives Matter gets birthed in the Obama administration. No cops get charged with anything. So when Donald Trump came in talking all that madness, and a lot of people that I knew that were like, he's never going to win, I'm like, you don't understand. You live here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take your ass into the middle of the country where people don't have shit.
And they already don't.
And they
like
have
niggas.
less. Yeah, and they already don't.
Bing.
And you think Hillary's going to? No.
Oh, they really don't.
Because
like
she's got easily justifiable dirt. And Donald Trump did a great job with the news media spun Benghazi way out of control.
Oh, he's a celebrity for being a celebrity. He went to his strength.
And he's been in your
And
house for 15 years.
He's been in your house for longer than 15 years. I was watching movies
Home
from
Alone
the
2.
80s.
Thank you.
Popping
Thank
up in
you.
there like Whoopi Goldberg's movie Eddie. He pops up
that's
in
right.
that.
Yeah.
Whoa!
The movie The Associate. He's in that. He's in all those
He
New
found
York,
a way to
all
be
those New
in-
York
yeah.
movies. He's in it. So he's like, that's why. And all right, off topic a little, but on topic. That's why when people are like yelling at Kanye for saying he likes it,
Lord.
Yeah.
you don't understand. It's not about him liking his presidential shit. He was like, that's my homie from New York that we used to be at parties.
Russell
popping
Simmons
bottles.
says the same thing.
Exactly. They were all.
Russell
it
Simmons
was
says the
before
same
That's
you
not a
thought
good
that-
example to bring up right
But
now.
it's not. But at the same time,
Not good
I
company,
got friends
Kanye.
like this. I have a friend who up like last year, he was doing bad and he started abusing his girlfriend. Everybody turned from him. Everybody ran from me. But I knew this brother was not the type of dude that was doing that because he wanted to do it. I had to find out what was going on. And I sat him down. I said, look, bro, I'm not going to turn my back on you. You're fucking wrong. Don't you ever put your hands on a woman again. But let's figure out why you're doing it. And he started off, well, she did this. No. We're not doing that. What did you do? Like, I want to hear your account. The only way I'm going to fuck with you and help you through this situation and be your homie during this bad time is if you be completely honest.
So
with
the
me.
only reason why this part of the story is okay is because Chris is literally 5 feet tall and he can't physically manhandle the guy. Otherwise, the only acceptable situation
spider monkey,
is to
Jabir,
put your
like a
hands
spider
on
monkey.
somebody who's putting
like
his hands on somebody
pistols
else.
don't exist. Oh, my God.
I was trying not to incriminate you. but-
Jabir and Chris, I'm going to ask both of you this question. I'll start with Jabir.
Okay.
Chris brings up a very, very, very important thing, in my opinion, because I think this whole thing kind of boils down to the way we look at redemption and forgiveness. And earlier off air, Chris said a big problem he had with the first news reports that were coming out about Kobe was a lot of white female journalists were calling him a rapist, kind of off top. How you have a friend that abused his girl, and usually when we say things, you see this, oh, so and so beat their wife or so and so's a rapist, throw him away, throw him in jail, throw away the key. How? We always want to talk about restorative justice. We always want to talk about it no end to prisons, over policing, yada, yada, yada. But let's just be honest. There's domestic violence in our community.
Yeah.
There's rape in our community.
There's plenty of predators.
How do we look at forgiveness honestly? Redemption.
Behavior.
Is it something that can happen?
Pattern.
It can happen. I think before we even get into this part of the discussion, I think because of the topic we're discussing, there has to be a acknowledgement the difference between an allegation, especially an allegation that's unfounded, no charges, in Kobe's situation, and a situation where we are able to put our hands as men, and I'm speaking as men in the situation. There's an opportunity for redemption. I know people who are convicted murderers, who are religious leaders, who are scholars, who are pillars of the community. I think, we think about our hero. Think about Malcolm X, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, who was
a pimp.
He was an abuser. He was a predator.
Yeah.
And I think a couple things have to happen, and one of them is repentance.
Yep.
And that's not from between me and the person. That is between the person and their God, and the person and their spirit, and the person themselves. But the second thing has to be the person has to pay a debt, and whether that's a debt to the person that they harmed or a debt that society sets up. What we decide to do a lot of times, especially with people that we're close to, is we just say, well, I love you anyway. I love you anyway. I, if anything y'all did, I would still love you. But that does not free you from having to take the steps of restorative justice. And I'm not an RJ specialist, so I can't say exactly what that looks like in each situation.
I know that.
But without a doubt, if without those two things, there's no hope of redemption in those cases. And I think it's insincere to try to move forward without that.
Exactly. That's like, I learned that through my recovery. Because while I was addicted to drugs and alcohol and just living fucking the life.
Stop right there.
What?
So, check it out. I'm gonna be a little bit of a dick.
We went too far?
We have a little bit of a time constraint. So what we're gonna do, we're not gonna stop our discussion. Our discussion is gonna keep going because we are gonna have a special Bitter Lake second half. That's gonna be there's gonna be a special second half. So if you're listening to this on the Podbeam, there'll be a special second half that'll be available that you can get if you're a follower. So
Follow us.
thank you very much.
You know what to do.
Here's a song that you'll be hearing shortly, hopefully.
Follow